Alrighty, everyone, here it is, the very last vlog. Drum roll, please. Not really. Okay, my last questions come from 3 different anonymous people. At least I think they're different ones. They might all be the same. I don't know. So anonymous number 1 asks, how much time do you spend taking photos for reviews and photo stories? Really good question. For my reviews, a lot of it just depends on what the product is that I'm reviewing and how detailed it is. Because as you guys all know, I'll take a picture of the box and all the sides of the box and the little parts of the box. And, you know, for a Disney doll, like from the Disney store, it probably takes a good 30 to 45 minutes. They're not quite as involved because it's just the doll. Now for something like an Ever After High doll or even the Hearts for Hearts girls, it takes a lot more just because there are so many more things to photograph, details of the clothing and the accessories and all that. And a lot of times when I'm sure you've noticed that when I do my reviews, if I'm reviewing more than one doll from the same line, then the first doll I'll go into just complete minuscule detail about every single thing, and then for some of the other dolls in the line I won't do quite as much detail because it would be very redundant. But yeah, on average for reviews, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, probably. For my photo stories, it takes a lot longer. At least an hour, sometimes 2, just depending on how involved the story is. And part of that is the way I do things. This may be kind of dumb, but what I do is I don't really have a story necessarily in my head when I go do photos for photo stories. I mean, I may have kind of the basic idea of what I want to portray. I usually have, okay, this is the theme of this photo story, and I might have some basic things worked out. But a lot of times I'll just go back there and start snapping pictures and kind of let the pictures make the story. And then I'll sit there and work through the pictures and see, okay, what does it look like their facial expression is saying, which is really ironic because they don't make facial expressions, but you know what I mean. The emotion of the picture, what emotion is this picture capturing? I will say that with some of my Belle's Bulletins ones, especially the ones that are part of a story arc, I do have those a little more planned out, and I know what pictures I want. But, you know, like Belle and Robbie's anniversary post, I just kind of took pictures and then thought, oh, okay, this works. And as I'm taking pictures, I'm kind of seeing the story come together in my head, and then I'll kind of get more ideas for other photos. And so it's kind of just a creative process. It might be smarter for me to write everything out first, but this has worked pretty well for me so far. So, but yeah, because of the way I do things, that does take me a lot longer because it's not like I have a set amount of pictures that I want to take. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm going to end up with. Okay, let's see. And number 2 from First Anonymous is, do you have the dolls who blog with you when you write your posts? When you write their posts, that is. I do not. I pretty much, because I have their characters that I've developed for them so established in my head, I don't really need to have them there with me. Not that I would mind doing that, but usually by the time I've finished doing the photos for the photo stories, you know, I don't really need them there with me necessarily to get that voice across. So that's not usually something I do. Okay, anonymous number 2 asks, why is Belle not going to blog anymore? For those of you who are not familiar with this question, Belle recently announced on her blog that after her 2-year blogiversary celebration in October, sometime around that time, she will not be blogging anymore. She wanted to give everybody plenty of notice. And, you know, this was a really tough decision for me. I really enjoy blogging for Belle. I enjoy blogging on Jane Austen and Unicorns. I love my main blog. But the truth is, this year I do want, as I've said, I do want to focus more on writing my novels. And right now I have 4 blogs that I'm running. I have Never Grow Up, which is my main review blog. I have Jane Austen and Unicorns, which is my 18-inch doll blog. I have Belle's Bulletins for Belle, and then I have my personal blog, which is called A Tale of Three Princesses, and that one's not open to the public because it has a ton of pictures of my daughters and stories about them. It kind of has replaced my scrapbooking that I used to do, although I'm horribly behind on it right now. So between those and managing the Facebook page, and I have Pinterest and Flickr and all sorts of things, it was just kind of it was getting a little overwhelming. And I just felt that if I tried to continue doing all of that and try and work on my novel, it was just going to be a little too much. So because Belle's storylines are the most complicated and I have to really work on the character development, even more so than with Jane Austen and unicorns, I decided that her blog was the logical one to give up. And to be honest, sometimes a story can be done before it's really done, if you know what I mean. I mean, Belle has really grown as a character. When she first started blogging, it was because she had no one else to talk to. She felt so alone. She was completely insecure and frustrated by the fact that everyone was holding these expectations up to her because she was based on the Disney character of Belle, but she really wasn't like her that much. And since then, she's befriended Rapunzel. She had the whole Ben and Robbie love triangle thing, and now she's married to Robbie. She's found a place, really, and even though she still has some insecurities and always will, I feel that she's grown as a character, and she's more confident than she was, and she doesn't have that same, I just have nobody else to talk to going on right now. She's got a family, she's a mom now, so she's really busy with that, and she's got Rapunzel. So I just really feel like, it's a good time to kind of bring that story to a close. And like I mentioned on her blog, I will be keeping her Facebook page open, so that, every once in a while we can get little glimpses of her life and how things are going. I do apologize to those of you who don't have Facebook accounts. I know that's difficult, but it's what I need to do right now. And it's possible, perhaps in the future, if things don't work out with my writing or whatever, I may decide to go ahead and take it up again. But for now, it just needs to be a clean break. And I have a few more story arcs that I'm trying to wind down and finish up. She will sing to Robbie before the vlog is out, I promise. And we'll hear a little more about Ben and a little more about Rapunzel's family. And there are a few more things that I do want to kind of finish up. But it's been a great adventure with Belle's Bulletins, but sometimes it's just time for those adventures to be done. So I hope you guys understand. I know it's disappointing, but it's what I need to do right now. Okay, and my very last question, from Last Anonymous. How can I find a guy who will appreciate my liking dolls? Or worse, will he mind if we get married and I have them out? Really good question there. To be honest, I think there's a way too much emphasis on trying to find a guy. I personally believe that you need to try and find contentment where you're at. And I'm totally preaching to the choir here because this has always been something I struggled with, even now as a person married to her high school sweetheart with 3 little girls, which was always my dream. You always have these expectations of, how wonderful things are going to be someday when this happens, when I meet that guy, when I have those kids. And there's always new sets of challenges and things that come up. It's never going to be perfect, so you can't rely on another person to make you happy and to complete you, really. To be honest, as a believer, my firm belief is that the only way I can find that happiness is in Christ, and I need to be the person that He wants me to be, and then everything else will fall into place. So I would strongly encourage you, especially if you're a believer, to just trust in the Lord, wait on Him, be who you need to be for Him, and when you are doing the right things and, in the place where you need to be, then everything's going to fall into place the way it needs to. That may be a guy for you, that may not be. I mean, that's not always the way it works out. But those things will come together. But if you try and force it, or if you're always thinking about that guy someday, you know, it makes it harder, and you start getting restless and discontent with things. So that would be my advice on that. As far as whether a guy will mind if you have your dolls out, best advice I could give you on that is, when you're in a relationship with someone, be very open about who you are. You know, if you have your dolls out, then he's probably going to notice them at some point, and maybe you guys can discuss that, and you can tell him how important they are to you. If he truly loves you for who you are, then the doll thing won't matter. It won't be a problem. You may not find a guy who's thrilled with dolls and is going to go shopping with you, but if, you know, you should have at least be able to find someone who is okay with it and not putting you down about it or anything. My husband is not a doll person, but he's been very patient and supportive with my habit, that sounds bad, my hobby. So, just one moment. Hey girls, remember mommy's videotaping? Let's be a little quieter, please. So, sorry. Almost done here. The only other thing I was going to say, yeah, so if you have, if you have your dolls out, you know, he's going to notice that. Not that I'm recommending you be in each other's rooms. I mean, that's kind of my personal thing, but that I really feel strongly about, you know, be aware and be careful where you're at, and, you know, set up good boundaries with each other. But anyway, if he sees how much you enjoy and appreciate dolls beforehand, you know, it shouldn't be a problem afterwards. Along that line, take it slow, you know? Make sure you really know the guy before you marry him. And that always helps too. So, yeah, I guess that's about all for this time around. Sorry to be bellowing in your ear back there, but we had a little argument going on back there. I just, once again, want to thank all of you for all of the great questions. I want to thank you for 3 wonderful years of blogging, and just how much you've all supported me. And I really need to go because my children are arguing. This is reality, folks. So you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the vlogs. I'm sorry some of them were so long, but at least if you're multitaskers like me, you know, you can turn it on and then browse the internet, since there's nothing interesting to look at by the 4th video. So anyway, thanks again, you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.